In this video, I'm going to share with you 3 steps to achieve wealth mindset. You're going to learn how you can rewire your mindset so that it really supports you and enables you to achieve your financial goals. Whether your financial goals include getting out of debt, saving more money, maybe increasing your income, or investing to build real wealth. My name is Yvonne, and the goal for this channel is personal growth. So if you want to improve the quality of your life, click the subscribe button to level up. The first step really is to observe your thoughts. You see, a wealth mindset begins with ensuring that the thoughts that are flowing through our mind really supports you. And it's very interesting how many thoughts actually flow through our brain every day. In fact, the National Science Foundation says that every day about 50,000 thoughts go through our brain. And of those thoughts, 80% are negative and 95% are repetitive thoughts. We want to pay attention to these passing thoughts, especially the repetitive and the negative ones. You want to be aware of any unsolicited or unwanted and unhealthy thoughts so that you can ignore them. Think of observing your thoughts like a mental filter. In fact, we can compare it to maybe an email spam filter or maybe an antivirus software product. So you know how an email spam filter takes an email that has been flagged as spam, the email that you don't want to be bothered with, and it sets it aside, away from your inbox, so that it doesn't disrupt or distract you. And this spam piles up so you can put it in your trash bin when you're ready. See? So observing our thoughts can also be compared to acting like an antivirus software. So antivirus products work by filtering, detecting, quarantining, and deleting this malicious code to prevent malware from causing damage and doesn't affect your device, whether it's your laptop, computer, phone. So what you want to make sure is you always have that mental spam filter on and active, and that's how you rewire for wealth. You see, you start with observing and becoming really mindful and self-aware of your thoughts. You want to notice what you're thinking, feeling, and any behaviors that conflict with what you want for yourself. So let's talk about feelings for a moment. So if you're feeling frustrated, anxious, stressed, overwhelmed, inadequate, or unhappy, that may be because a limiting belief is causing those feelings. So for example, if you feel overwhelmed about maybe doing your budget, it may be because there's a limiting belief that you feel maybe you're not capable, or you don't trust yourself enough. Or maybe you feel like you're not disciplined enough to create or stick to a budget. You also want to be aware of maybe behavior patterns that you continue to do that self-sabotage your progress. So for example, things like overdrawing your account, maybe not opening bills and letting them pile up, not paying your bills on time, or going shopping not because you actually really need the thing, but because you shop to make yourself feel better, for distraction or avoidance. You see, these behaviors are symptoms of an underlying negative or limiting belief. Maybe a belief of self-doubt that you aren't good with money, or maybe that you always mess up with money and you don't understand how to manage it, so why bother? So you also want to pay attention to that voice that might be putting you down, saying that, there's never enough. That voice that instills doubts or puts you down for something that you did wrong in the past. So at the end of the day, what you want to do is recognize a belief that is what it is. It's a lie. A negative belief is a lie. Our human brains are predisposed towards noticing negativity, and it's a necessity for self-preservation. And that may have worked well in primitive times when we needed to be hyper aware of our surroundings. But in these modern times, We want to question the negative and fearful thoughts that pass through and flow through our mind. It's perfectly normal to have negative and fearful thoughts from time to time, but you don't want to live there, okay? And you don't want to dwell in the negative, because when we dwell in the negative, it's a form of emotional self-abuse. That's known as rumination. So we don't want to live there. We don't want to be there, okay? We don't want to abuse ourselves. So we don't want to ruminate on things. What you want to do instead is rewire your self-doubt and feelings of not being good enough. Just the fact that you're aware of the negative or fearful thought really is something to celebrate. Just catching yourself, okay? So start appreciating the small changes and the small progress you are making. When you have an internal conflict, it's almost like there are two thought systems that are conflicting with each other at the same time. Maybe a part of you wants to start a business. The other part of you is like, oh, no, I can't because this, that, and the other. Well, that's an example of this two thought systems. The part that wants the best for you, known as the soul, and the part that wants to pull you back, to keep you in the comfort zone and the familiar. That's known as the ego. Now, the voice you listen to consistently, that's going to determine how your brain is wired. The voice of fear is known as the ego, and it's always focusing on your flaws and thrives on fear, negativity, shame, guilt, and judgment. These are things that are very real, that exist in our life, whether we want to admit it or not, okay? So this is that daily dialogue, okay? Remember that percentage that flows through our mind? That's negative? Yeah, that's the ego, okay? So I'm sure you've heard of the saying, you're being too hard on yourself. Well, the part that's being too hard on yourself, okay, that voice is the voice of the ego, okay? So think of the ego like that spokesperson for the brain. The job of your brain, ultimately, like I said before, is to keep you safe. And it does that through instilling fear for survival. So ultimately, the ego's intentions are good. It wants to keep you safe. But, it goes about it in the wrong way. When that's not in your best interest. See, the ego is a voice that tells you that you shouldn't start your own business because it would be too difficult, and it's the voice that tells you you shouldn't try to maybe ask for a raise because you don't want to seem like you're overstepping. See, what you want to start doing is responding in a healthier way by becoming self-aware. Okay, be aware of that voice of the ego, because it is typically the one that speaks first and the loudest. But on the other hand, the voice of love, the soul, is the quieter, calmer, and speaks more softly. It knows you're safe because you're connected to the divine, and it continually encourages us to do what we're here to do on earth. It's filled with compassion for ourselves and others, and reminds us of our gifts and wants us to really bring those gifts out into the world. That's the voice inside of you that has a deep desire maybe to start that soul-inspired business so that you can make a difference in people's lives. And that's the voice that encourages you to ask for that raise because it reminds you that you're worth it. That's the voice that we want to listen to because that's really going to push us to shine, and it's the path to success and wealth in your life. So the way that you become self-aware of your thoughts is to witness your internal dialogue, almost as if you're in the sidelines of a baseball game or one of your favorite basketball games. You're on the sidelines as a spectator, as an impartial spectator, really looking at what's going on, okay? So you're kind of removing yourself. And in psychology, it's called disassociation. When you distance yourself and you kind of look at it, almost like you're looking at a movie or a spectator at a game, okay? So almost like you're viewing yourself from a distance. So notice and observe when fear, doubt, or maybe inadequacy pops up, Okay? So what you want to do is you don't want to try to judge or shame or criticize or analyze what you notice as bad or anything like that. You just observe and become aware of it. And just take note of your thoughts and feelings in the moment and check in with yourself. Recognize any negative thoughts that, with detachment, like I said, and be curious about it. Be like, oh, interesting how I just said I can't do this. That's interesting. Okay? Don't put yourself down. Don't judge yourself. Don't shame yourself for even having that thought, but just be like, aha, I caught you. I'm observing you. That's interesting. Okay? So that's the first place to start. Okay? Become a curious spectator of your thoughts. And actually that happened to me just recently. I was brushing my hair and looking in the mirror, and then I just noticed how I was preparing for something, for an important meeting, and I was just kind of mulling over it and thinking to myself, oh, I can't do this. This is something where somebody left the company and they trained me on something, and it's a little overwhelming. It's new. There's a lot of detail, and I'm thinking, oh, I can't do this. That thought literally went through my mind, and I caught myself, and I was like, oh, interesting. There you are. And I didn't judge myself. I tried not to do that. I know that's hard, because the first thing you want to do is say, oh my gosh, you don't think like that. You're not supposed to. All this work we've done, all this inner work. Nope. Just kind of be aware of it, catch it, be curious, and that is where we begin. Okay? So again, we don't want to ruminate on things. We don't want to create any self-abuse because of it. We just want to be aware of it. And the healing, believe it or not, lies in the awareness. Okay? So another example, maybe it's almost like you were sitting on the grass and looking up at the sky and noticing all those beautiful clouds roll by, and observing and noticing the clouds. See, that's how we want to approach observing our thoughts. So observe your thoughts like you observe the clouds passing by across the sky. Okay? Now, the second step is to release thoughts and feelings. So kind of going back to that cloud example, have you ever noticed a cloud that passes by in the sky? I'm sure when we were kids, when I was a kid, I used to love looking up at the sky and just pretend that's maybe a cloud looks like different animals or things like that, what shapes the clouds take. So I encourage you that if that's not something that you typically do, spend some time, just look up at the sky, okay? And notice the clouds pass by. This is important because this gives you some perspective. Because I want you to, as you see a cloud in the sky, just observe it and notice it as it lightly floats across the sky and slowly dissipates. Okay? Have an image of that. Similarly, thoughts are like clouds. They're like events that we can observe that cross our mind, okay? And we can also allow them to pass by. We don't have to latch onto and believe every thought that passes by and oh my goodness, this is me. No, those thoughts are not you. They're not you, okay? It's a thought. It gets to pass by, and you get to allow it to just pass by, and you get to observe it pass by, okay? It doesn't have to become a part of you if you choose not to have it become a part of you, okay? I hope that makes sense. So instead of reacting to your feelings, acknowledge your feelings, and then allow them to pass by, releasing and letting them go. When our emotions trigger feelings we don't like, a lot of times we tend to numb our feelings with distractions and diversions. Sometimes we distract our uncomfortable feelings with, maybe we go shopping just to distract ourselves from just having a bad day. And I'm not going to judge that because a lot of times I do that too. But what we want to start doing is becoming aware of it, okay? Become aware of the time when you're shopping because you actually need something, and become aware of the time when you're shopping because you're trying to distract yourself or numb yourself from this thing that happened. Maybe a coworker said something that rubbed you off the wrong way, or a family member or a friend, or some problem that's triggering these negative emotions, that's causing you to distract and numb yourself through other means. Okay, in this case, we're talking financially, or you just tend to procrastinate, shut everything off, not pay your bills, not do your budget. You just don't want to hear of anything, and you don't take care of your financial responsibilities because you're kind of in that mode where you're just essentially like frozen. Like you don't have that mindset that's clear enough to handle other things. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about where that comes from. But remember, we talked about being aware of it. That's the first step. So now that you're aware of it, now let's understand where this thing come from, okay? So sometimes we do distract ourselves, distract our uncomfortable feelings with shopping or things like that. But just either way, just know that our suppressed feelings are going to emerge as we are in the process of self-awareness. And it's a journey that we're all going through. The important thing is that we're aware of it, okay? That we're aware of having these negative thoughts. Remember, we're that spectator. And also too, we're observing ourselves, as we go through this shopping experience, saying, oh, interesting, I'm shopping because I am stressed. And that happens to me when I'll pick up some chocolate or cake in the groceries, and I've just had a bad day. I'll be self-aware and I'll say, I am eating this cake because I'm having one of those days, okay? And I'll own it sometimes, and I'll still go through with having my piece of cake. Other times, I'll be aware of it and I'll say, oh, okay, do I want this piece of cake? Yes or no? Then it becomes a more conscious choice. And I'll say, actually, yes. And I'll take it with me. Other times I'll say, not really, not right now. And then I'll put it down. So either way is fine. The point is, be aware of that negative thought that triggers this behavior. That's the process and journey of self-awareness, okay? And we get to choose from a conscious, aware state. Okay, so I'm not saying don't have that cake or don't go shopping. I'm saying be aware of it. If you have the money to go shopping and that's what you choose, go for it. Buy that dress. I am aware that I had a bad day at work and I'm just going to take the weekend to go shopping. And I took a look at everything, my expenses, and I'm okay with that. It's my play money. I'm going to go shopping. Go for it. Have fun. But do that with conscious awareness that it's just to help you cope and get through that sense and that feeling, okay? I hope what I'm saying is making sense to you, okay? So we're not, again, judging or shaming or guilting. We're just becoming self-aware. That's the process of self-awareness. But I want you to know where a lot of this comes from, because I think that really helps us as we become more aware of our thoughts, feelings, emotions, and behaviors. So unhealed pain triggers these stress hormones. And what it does is it prepares your brain for that primitive, what they call reptilian brain, fight, flight, or freeze response, okay? It's a natural, normal, automatic response from our brain. Our primitive brain, the part that is, because our brain actually has 3 parts, okay? The part that is, at the core of the brain is called the reptilian brain. So that's the part that triggers this fight, flight, or freeze response when we're feeling stressed. For instance, when our coworker says something, insensitive, or our spouse or something or other, that creates a flood of stress hormones. And our reptilian brain pretty much shuts off the executive center of our brain, the part that actually makes very conscious choices, and the logic part of our brain actually is triggered to shut off. And this reptilian kicks in, okay? So, and that what kicks in is fight, flight, or freeze. So, in fact, this freeze response is exactly what's happening when you procrastinate in doing your budget, or maybe you avoid opening bills, or you go shopping, or you eat that cake or chocolate, okay? That's that reptilian brain kicking in. okay, and turning off your logic center, okay? And that is very normal, and that happens, okay? So be aware of that. So in other words, we don't act and do the things we know would be in our best interest when this happens, when we're flooded with all this stress, cortisol hormone. So what we want to do instead is we want to release this pain and stop holding on to it or suppressing it, okay? So just letting it flow, okay? Emotional repression is exhausting and drains your energy for other things. So repressed and suppressed feelings may be what's driving you to engage in self-sabotage, like maybe avoiding your finances or second-guessing your decisions. So what we want to do is let these feelings flow through us and let them eventually dissipate, okay? So you are not your thoughts. Your thoughts are not truth. Okay, so you can either be frustrated with that coworker, spouse, family member, or whoever, you know, ticked you off that day. You can be mad and you can hold on to that anger. Okay, and that anger, as long as you continue to hold on, even if you're aware of it, okay, and you see yourself going through these the motions of reacting in that reptilian brain fight, flight, you know, freeze response. You have a choice in that moment. You have a choice to either continue to hold on to these feelings and thoughts, how upset you are, whatnot, or you have a choice to let it go. As long as you hold on to it, you're still in that stress response. And when you choose to let it go, you allow it to flow through you through various ways, right? Just release and letting it go, then you have more control, okay? Then your thoughts don't have control over you, okay? You have control over your thoughts because your thoughts are not truth, okay? Perspective, changing our perspective for that situation introduces more compassion, more forgiveness, you know, and that helps with the releasing process. So don't take the thoughts that pass through your mind too seriously. Just observe it, notice those thoughts, if those thoughts are helpful or hurtful. And if this thought is hurtful, just let it pass. Release and let it go. You have the right to choose another more supportive and helpful thought. So for example, you can catch yourself shopping because you're really upset and ticked off, and you just realize, you know what, maybe that coworker had a bad day. You know, maybe they're about to lose their job. Maybe they had an argument with their spouse. I don't know. Maybe now's a good time to just let that go, right? And as you walk along the mall and go shopping and whatnot, window shop, you're slowly talking yourself through this release, right? It's not worth it. I'm just going to let this go. I'm just going to let this go, right? And so that's what you want to do. Choose a more supportive thought. The third step is to reframe your thoughts and feelings. Thoughts are the cause of emotions and feelings. In fact, I'm going to define a little bit what the difference is between an emotion and a thought, because a lot of times these are used interchangeably, and they do have a difference. So an emotion is your body's chemical reaction, and after the brain interprets this chemical reaction that flows through your subconscious filter and belief system, then a feeling shows up. So it happens in that sequence: a thought, emotion, then a feeling. So for example, two people are looking to increase their income, right? They want to ask for a raise. And this is so that they can save more and get out of debt. So as you prepare to ask for a raise, your heart is racing and your hands are sweating, and that's your body's chemical reaction to the stimuli of asking for a raise. And that body's chemical reaction is the emotions. Now, these two people are experiencing the same emotions, and yet someone can interpret that emotion through their belief systems by saying, oh my gosh, I'm feeling nervous. But another person can interpret that same emotion by saying, oh, I'm feeling excited. So one backs down from asking for a raise because they're feeling nervous, and yet the other gears up for asking for the raise because they interpret their emotions as a feeling of excitement, okay? And they look forward to the possibility of making more money. You see? So same emotion, heart racing and hands sweaty, but completely different feelings because their belief systems and their subconscious programming is different, okay? So your thoughts and emotions run through your belief systems. It's your filter, and that determines your feelings. I'll give you another example. Let's say you want to increase your income, to have more financial freedom and maybe spend more time doing the things you enjoy by starting a business. Well, the thought of starting a business causes that emotional reaction of your heart racing and maybe a rush of butterflies in your stomach. Well, one person thinks of starting a business, their heart's racing, they experience butterflies in their stomach, and they immediately feel fearful, stressed, and scared. And ultimately, decide starting a business might not be a good idea. There's too many unknowns, right? But another person thinks of starting a business, their heart's racing, there's butterflies in their stomach, and yet they feel excited, curious, motivated, and eager to learn and gather resources to get started. Well, two different belief systems, okay? Two different filters. Your belief system will either support you or hinder you. If you're getting the wrong feeling, what you want to do is you want to change your filter. Many times we have implanted beliefs, false narratives, and indoctrinated ideas that we're carrying around that really don't support us. We want to change our filter by challenging and questioning these thoughts. So question your thoughts and really reframe them into more enabling beliefs. Separate your thoughts from yourself. And you can only see what confirms your long-held belief. But when you identify and understand where that belief maybe originated and came from, then you can rewire that belief into one that's really going to support you better. So another example, limiting beliefs includes, there's not enough money. Or it shows up as, I can't start that business because I don't have enough money, right? So what you want to do is question that thought. Question it to really understand that underlying belief system or filter. Is it true that there's not enough money to start a business? Do other people start businesses even though they don't have enough money, right? So how do they get the resources to start their business? How can I get the resources I need to start my business? See, this is how you begin to reframe your thoughts. You question them. Another limiting belief includes, other people get to be wealthy, but that's not us. Or, money is the root of all evil. Or when you have money, it's because you're greedy. Or it's safer to not have money so you don't become a target. See, these are all limiting beliefs or dirty filters that can affect how you show up in the world. So for example, if you believe that there's never enough money, that can lead you to self-sabotage. And when you do make a good salary, or if you get a lump sum of money, chances are, if you have this limiting beliefs or dirty filter, you're just going to self-sabotage by spending it all just to confirm that, there's not enough money, right? So that's why a lot of, for instance, lottery winners go broke, because even though they may come across a lot of money, because they haven't done the inner work to change that filter, that limiting beliefs, negative thoughts, and everything, then their behavior is always going to reflect their filter. Okay? Their behavior is going to reflect their limiting beliefs. So the majority of them self-sabotage, they don't invest or save because their beliefs don't support them. So ask yourself, what limiting beliefs are affecting the way I show up in the world? In conclusion, building your financial mastery takes deep inner work so that your behaviors align with what you want. You want to be patient with yourself as you align yourself with your goals in mind, body, and spirit. That's why I've designed and created my signature money mastery program. Traditional personal finance education tends to focus on facts and numbers, and that's all well and good, but not at the expense of ignoring your inner work, the mindset, behavior, and the transformation needed really to build lasting results. Because it's more than just creating a budget, it's creating a lifestyle to build and keep your wealth. So if you're ready to invest in your financial education, this course is for you because it combines getting the full picture of personal finance and helping you create a personalized financial action plan. You see, this program is curated especially for women who are ready to upgrade their mindset for wealth. And it's not for everyone because this exclusive experience is only for the high achieving women that are committed, to their transformation, to get out of debt, save more, increase their income, and invest to build real wealth. And so this exceptional and unique program is really going to support you in having that peace of mind that comes when you're having an action plan for financial freedom. So if you're ready to live a life of financial prosperity on your terms, click the link below in the description box to enroll. Also, it's always great to have inspirational and motivational reminders to keep you moving forward towards your dreams and goals. So click on the link in the description box below to pick out your custom designed gift for either yourself, family, and friends in my online merch store. Click in the link in the description box below. Here next to me is the Doodle Heart coffee mug, so that's another favorite of mine as well. You'll see that there. So if you enjoyed this video and want to improve the quality of your life, click the subscribe button to level up. Oceans of love. Till next time.